Hey guys, this is Dr. Jenny Kokebek. I often get inquiries from people looking to become physical therapists and wondering what that process looks like. Perhaps they're in school, they need to write a paper for something. And so rather than having something where I'm always reinventing the wheel, I thought doing a video that could serve as a reference point for people looking to get into the profession and why, as well as some of the questions in that process, that this could serve as something kind of archived and kind of helps answer the most common questions. Question number one is always, why? Like, why did you become a physical therapist? And the answer is simply this. I was in high school between my sophomore and junior years, and I literally woke up from a deep sleep with this burning desire to be a physical therapist. Never saw one at that point in time, and had only kind of a vague idea what was required. But I knew I wanted to become one, and that was my life's purpose, my life's mission. I simply call it divine inspiration. If you don't believe in such things, I don't have anything else to tell you other than that. From there, I went to NIU, Northern Illinois University, got my undergrad, joined a private practice, orthopedic. Several years later, I got my doctorate through a program called Evidence in Motion. Their program seemed to resonate with what I wanted to do next in my career, and so I jumped on that. Along the way, I've learned and continue to grow my skills, my way of looking at the world, way of looking at people, and just love to add new perspectives, continue to obtain knowledge and skills and things, and it simply goes through a filter of this. Learning all I can about the things that interest me, which for me it's physical therapy, but it's a part of a bigger picture of just the health, the human body, the human condition, and ways to like really hone in on this awesome complex machine, using what works, disregarding, throwing away what doesn't work, and trying to add something of your own unique style that's authentic, to you from there too. For you, looking at what you need going forward, you're probably looking at a 4-year undergraduate degree, followed by 3 years in a graduate program, in which point you'll graduate with your doctorate in physical therapy. You'll be a doctor of physical therapy, a clinical doctorate. And just consider what 7 years of school looks like, and the cost emotionally and mentally, but the cost financially for that. There's nothing wrong with maybe doing some price shopping for different programs, different schools. And does that make sense for you, what you want to do? To be fair, there's other professions out there we share a lot of the same lanes: osteopathy, chiropractic, physical medicine, specialties. Know your why. Why are you even considering being a PT? What have your experiences been? Maybe directly, maybe a family member, somebody who's gone through this process, and let that help kind of guide your process. And I think as far as the whys for a lot of us in the profession, we may say this different ways, perhaps with more poetic license, but essentially it's helping people get to a better place. It's helping the person who limps in run out. It's helping the person whose back is keeping them from picking up their kids, their grandkids, being able to work, having them be able to kind of do their thing without limitations. It's helping people who can't move, little kids who aren't learning how to sit, roll, crawl, getting them through that process. It's empowering, and that's the best part of this profession, is helping people get to the next level, to get to a point where they don't need to see you anymore. Or they'll come back looking for something else because life is crazy, right? Like, things happen. But that's it. The settings may differ, how you do that may differ, but that is really the linchpin, right? Is empowering people and helping them through a process to get to where they want to be. And for a lot of people, it's means in the absence of pain, or being able to do that cleaner, better, with more joy in their life, and that's just empowering with a capital E. So know your why. Why is it you're thinking about this versus other, perhaps parallel professions, and going forward from there too. Another common question is, what are some of the frustrations in the profession? And this can kind of dovetail into another question that's commonly asked of me, which is, why do I practice the way I practice? So let me start with some of the frustrations of the practice in general. And in no particular order, it's essentially the third-party insurance system. Whether that's Medicare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Health Alliance, United Health, so on and so forth. It's the rigmarole that's required for the reimbursement of your services. There's a huge burden in documentation, and there's a variety, hundreds literally of different documentation programs out there that require different levels of checking boxes and typing things in. It takes away from client time, takes away from patient time. Plus, you have to do, you yourself, if you're in your own private practice, or your department has to deal with the vagaries sometimes of how do we go about getting reimbursed. Insurance companies are known for, maximizing their own profit while minimizing their payouts. And to be fair, I'm sure there's been abuse over the years. There probably is still some abuse that takes place with third-party insurances, and so they're perhaps hyper-vigilant in trying to head that off to the point of it feels like a disservice to the people that they've insured. So third-party insurance is the biggest thing. I would say another potential stress factor, frustration out there in general, is just being able to have people buy into their own treatment plan. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, that's a deeper dive in its own conversation, but you can call that compliance, you can call that active participation, and part of that also is going to be you, right? Like, have you been able to explain and make the case and clear the roles and the steps and the process to why they're walking the path that they're walking, or has that been a little bit muddled and perhaps not so clear? And so that's part of it too. It's a complex situation, but essentially some point of clients not following their own best purposes, their own best path in life. It can lead to some frustration, lead to some burnout with that too. And then three, what might just be the unique situation in where you're practicing. Maybe there's some office politics, there's a little acrimony happening through there, there's less than a positive culture. Humans are humans, right? Even doctors and physical therapists and teachers and people we tend to put on pedestals of being like, oh, you guys are great, can still engage in sophomore, junior high behavior, I guess. Which got me to where I am today, right now, and how I practice. I'm a one-person clinic, one person, one dog. This is Emma, by the way. Emma's been with me for 7 some years, helping to greet and treat my clients coming forward. And I do something that's kind of unique, not rare, but kind of unique, in that I don't accept third-party payment. I don't want to play the insurance game because I want to honor this divine calling I've had, my purpose to help people, to get people better, to spend time with them, laying my hands on, using my mental faculties, helping to problem solve with them, to listen and get them through this process where they can walk out the door and they don't need me anymore, right? They're better, they're back at it. So people pay what I think, that's all subjective, but I think is a fair price for time rendered. I just simply do things based on time. Did I spend half hour or an hour with you? And here's what that is, right? It's all very front and center. I then give them the paperwork to submit to their insurance company if they want to. And I would say vast majority of people I see do have insurance. They want a different type of service that works for them too. And also I can work with people too. I do the occasional pro bono work because, I don't know, sometimes I just want to. That case is right there and it is what it is. Whereas if I had insurance contracts, legally I couldn't do that, which sounds crazy. Or someone came in and said, I don't have insurance, can I just pay you something, in cash, and I'd have to charge him at least the same rate, if not more, than my insurance contract, because they have what's in there a favored nation status, which essentially says, because of this contract, I can't discount anything below this rate to anybody else for any other reason. It just sounds crazy to me and takes away a little bit of that professional autonomy. So for those reasons, I kind of do it the way I do. You can also see that maybe I'm not dressed the way that most of my colleagues are. I work with a lot of athletes. A lot of times I'm on the ground, I'm rolling around, I'm showing dynamic drills, I'm running drills, we're doing some things. I can't pull that off in a pair of khakis and a shirt and tie. I can't move like that. So I do what I do and how I do it, and it works for me. But I'm a one-person show, and so you're going to have to think about where you land after school, and part of that's going to be knowing what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Like what type of office dynamics resonate, and what type of office dynamics serves as like two positively charged ions. And sometimes that first job after school is the best job because it's a job and you want a job. And so you cut your teeth and you learn for those first 3 years. And then maybe get a little gravel in your shoes, as they used to say, and you move on to something else for a variety of reasons. Better opportunities, more, whatever that means, or just because you need to be in a better place with a few more smiles and a few less frowns. So those are kind of the big issues I usually get asked about with physical therapy. The other thing I would just say too is that, assuming again going into I'm going to assume you've crossed the bridge, you're into your professional years. Build relationships and don't throw people under the bus, right? So essentially, build relationships with people, authentic, real relationships with your clients, with your colleagues, with other people in the community that you're working with, doctors, nurses, athletic trainers, massage therapists, chiropractors, osteopaths, the whole shebang. Because I think we're all doing what we do, perhaps a little bit differently, but for the same reasons. We're all trying to be benevolent and help however way we can, right? And the other thing is, don't throw people under the bus. All too often in a 24, going on 25-year career, I've seen this play out locally, and I've seen this play out nationally, where sometimes there's a tendency to kind of eat your own a little bit. That locally it plays out sometimes like this, where someone walks in and says, I had physical therapy before for my back, and all they did was cupping, or all they did was McKenzie exercises, all they did was dry needling, all they did was whatever. And based on how you see the world, you may be like, they didn't do any drawing in of the transverse abdominis, they didn't do any, there goes Emma. And you may either, tacitly or overtly throw a colleague under the bus. Nationally, it takes place sometimes on social media and other things, but also, I've been at conferences where it's happened here too. We can backstab people, right? I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. We throw colleagues under the bus that we don't even know for perhaps their politics. And I don't mean like Republican Democrat. I mean like, oh, you are pro manual therapy? Like, oh, you've been knighted, you've been knighted dolt, type thing. It can be things more esoteric to the profession. Don't do that. Be above that. Everybody's trying to do their best that they can, right? We all got in this for good reasons. Everybody's trying to do their best to help people, build relationships, and just be above throwing people under the bus, kind of going forward. With that being said, if you do join this noble profession, I wish you the best of luck and success. It's an undulating process. There'll be good days, there'll be bad days, there'll be times you'll be browbeating yourself for not being better, and sometimes it's not about you. In fact, keep that in mind too. It's really not about you, it's about that client and what's happening in their life. And don't discount the power of just being somebody who can listen deeply, fully, to kind of see what is unseen, to kind of pull out that which hasn't been said but is lurking beneath the surface. Because at some point in time, people just need to be heard and just need to get some stuff out and just need to share some fears and some stressors and some anxieties. And I think that's kind of where the magic starts, the healing starts, that process starts. Now, for sure, some people just need to have some joints and soft tissues worked, and some things need to be gotten stronger, and so on. But don't rush, and think that treatment only means a modality or an exercise or something. Just be there with that person. So that's all I got. I wish you guys the best. Be good to yourself, be good to others. Godspeed.